Everybody, it's JP, and you are watching
Absolute Game Off.
Nerd! Welcome to another short video. In today's video, I will be showing some clips from a comic show I went to recently and some recent pickups. So essentially, there was a comic show in Buffalo. This is beginning of December. There's a comic show in Buffalo. It was a small show, just about 4 or 5 dealers. And I went specifically with my some Golden Age books I had and some slabs I wanted to sell, including Ultimate Fallout 4, the Omega Man 3. I have an extra one, a 9.4, and my Heir to the Empire #1 9.0, plus my Golden Age Phantom Lady, Matt Baker, Schomburg covers. And I was going to try to trade all of those for a Crow #1. Now, this show normally is about 3 times the size. It's held by a comic book store in Buffalo called Cosmic Comics, and it used to be an open store a couple doors down that must have been a grocery store or something. It was pretty large, and they would hold a comic book show. I think it's in April, then again in midsummer, and then like I said, December, and they would probably have 25 dealers. Well, that space got occupied by another company, so they couldn't do that big of a show. So this year it was just 4 or 5 dealers in their comic store. So I kind of debated whether I want to drive. It's roughly an hour and a half to drive to Buffalo to do that. There is a show the next weekend in Pittsburgh that is much larger, but again, it is more of a pop culture show. There might be 10 dealers there. They're the same 10 I see each time I go. Most of them are good guys, but it just comes down to, I wanted something different, and I've had good luck up in Buffalo with this mini show they have, and this was a mini show. So let me show you some footage from the mini show, we'll call it. 4 or 5 dealers. Again, I was going there looking for Crow #1. That's kind of come on my list of my radar to look for. I'm not really sure why. I just think the cover is so iconic. I love the show the movie when it came out. I had the soundtrack. A lot of it. I was a fan of Bruce Lee, fan of Brandon. It was tragic how both of them passed away or were killed. So there's some cultural significance to that comic itself, and then the movie and the history and dramatic events of that movie. So kind of sparked me to look for it. But we'll see what we end up picking up at the show. So we went there specifically trying to trade, and let me show you some footage.
It's like the way the guy that they have no idea. Yeah, so if it's still available, I think we'll get it. You may or may not.
The other thing is too, like I didn't pick up the ad, but I screened the ad a few times. I mean, it's like the guy is still writing he's writing like he's still like a 25-year-old son that's all these sexual politics things. Get out of my life, whatever. And it's like you gotta have a little perspective. You're 80 years old. I mean, I don't expect you to sing about his pending. But like, give us some perspective of where you are.
So looking through, I just completed a trade with the guy that was looking at his iPad. in the beginning of the clip. Now, remember the guy that was laughing in the orange? He'll come up in a minute here. But the guy, I looking at his iPad. I just did a trade with that person. I traded. I can't remember the Avengers book number off the top of my head, but it's the one with Hawkeye and Ant-Man. Ant-Man's on the arrow. Hawkeye's getting ready to shoot him into the abyss. I'm not sure where I don't know the storyline. As you guys know, I don't read the stories, but I do love the covers, and it's an iconic cover from back in the late 70s, early 80s. But I traded him that and a Young Avengers #1, which if you saw one of my recent videos, I picked up at an antique store locally. Not locally, I guess it's a little bit about an hour away from me, but picked up that Young Avengers and a stack of other books for about $100. So I traded that Young Avengers and that Hawkeye book and $20 for what I'll show you here, which is Comics Journal number 117, the Dave Stevens cover. This is one I've seen pretty pricey. They had it marked for $100. I was able to get about probably $60 for the Young Avengers and the Avengers book with $20. So I got this for about $80, which I thought was a good deal. It looks to be in pretty good shape, but I don't think the Young Avengers was in great shape. It was probably a 7.0, 7.5. The Hawkeye book was in decent shape for being a white cover, but I was pretty happy with that trade because I look at it this way. I spent $100 at that antique store for that stack of books, which included the Hulk 377, which included the Young Avengers, which included a bunch of those first appearances for the upcoming Marvel Series 3 contest we're having. So I paid $100 for all those, and I got to keep all those minus the Young Avengers because that's traded to that gentleman you saw on the iPad for this Dave Stevens book. So essentially, I think that's a good deal. So I was happy with that. Nice guys. They had some good modern books at their booth. They had probably the biggest setup there at their booth. And then the rest of the guys were sort of draped around the left side of this comic store. Where you saw me going through the dollar bins, that was the books of the comic store itself. And then the display cases were the comic store itself. But most of the dealers were off on the left. And, I went around with my Golden Age books, the Phantom Lady books, and didn't get a lot of takers. A lot of people could have cared less on those books, which I thought was interesting because the dealers there, besides the guy in orange who was laughing, the rest of them were older, and I thought they would have had a taste for that Golden Age, but they didn't. The guy in orange actually had probably the best setup there of some of the best books I've seen in a long time, and he recognized me because just back in April, I was looking for Batman 251 and Batman 221. Both of those iconic Neil Adams covers. He had both of them. He wasn't willing to trade, so I had to go and trade a bunch of books or sell a bunch of books in order to be able to buy the ones he had. And after I just got done making the trade on to another dealer, I came back with the money to buy the Batman books, and he had just sold them, both of them. He just sold both of them to the same guy. I literally just missed it by minutes. So he was able to make me a deal because he remembered that same instance. He was able to make me a deal for what I'm going to show you next. But let me show you some of the books that he had in his little setup there. He had some great books here. So let me go ahead and play this. Some X-Men books. There you go. There's a Christmas book. Would have been helpful for the Christmas special. It was all most of the stuff was priced pretty high. There's Mr. Sinister. Thought about buying that one there. That's iconic. Not one I have, but not one I'm willing to pay $85 for. Thought about that Thundercats. I got New Mutants. I have that one. Needed that one for the Marvel Series 3 contest there. There's Nova, another good one to have for that. So, as you can see, he has some decent books, but he had a lot of crime, suspense, pre-code horror books. And one of the books that he had. I was very said one of them I was tempted to buy. Let me show which one it was. Now, I didn't get a nice picture of this book, but it's Crime Suspense number 17. I think it's Ray Bradbury wrote the story in this book. It's a guy that looks like he's being shot in the head. His wife is back, can see it. And if you look in the mirror behind her, you can see that's actually his own hand. It's a suicide. And this was a pre-code book. It's not the most expensive one, as there is Crime Suspense 22, which is the woman's head and the hatchet. He didn't have that one, but he had the one with the gentleman. I think it's number 19 maybe, where the guy is choking the woman on the boat. So this one he had for $7.75. He wasn't willing to trade again. And I wanted this one, and he didn't have anyone for Ultimate Fallout 4. He was basically just trying to get rid of his entire collection, and so he wouldn't trade. So again, I went around looking to trade. I had a couple people interested in my Ultimate Fallout and my Heir to the Empire #1. So I thought I could maybe get $1,000 to put towards this book, but no one was really interested, so I couldn't pull the trigger on that one. I think I can get a hold of him because I got his card if I wanted down the road to get that book. But I settled for, and I still love this cover. This is Crime Suspense number 18, the book that came out right after the 17 I just showed. This is pre-code horror. I don't have any of these type of books in my collection. I just picked up the Golden Age you saw, the Golden Age Good Girl art. This is my first crime or pre-code horror book with the guy dragging the woman up the steps. Blonde hair, red blouse, but it's usually blonde hair, red dress is the what the criteria are for a pricey 50s or 40s, 1940s, 1950s book. So I opted for this book. He had it listed for $275, and I got it for $200. He said he remembered me from that last show when I didn't get the Batman book, so he hooked me up there. So I was happy with that. So there you have it. I drove pretty far, was able to make a trade for the Dave Stevens book, Comics Journal 117. It's in pretty good shape for $80. That's a pretty good deal. And then the Crime Suspense, my first pre-code horror book. Maybe more to come. We'll see if I can get a hold of this guy. Maybe work a deal out. So that was from the Buffalo show. Recent pickup. This is unrelated. This is not a comic book, but this is some cards that I picked up. Some of you that are Star Wars fans may have heard of the 1977 Air card with C-3PO. Now there's C-3PO. This is the O-Pee-Chee card. It's orange, meaning this was the Canadian cards. This is the fix of the Air. And I got this in the mail and came with this one. This is the Air card in the orange O-Pee-Chee Canadian version. So I have both versions, the Air and the corrected. Now I have not been able to find this book, or excuse me, this card, any sale comps on eBay. They're all the green card, the US version. So I don't know how rare it is to find the O-Pee-Chee Air, the uncorrected version. I'm trying to find out. I'm thinking I'm going to send this in to get graded and then just hold it from there and see what I can find out from there. But if you know anything about it, feel free to comment on that one because I thought that was pretty cool. I didn't pay a whole lot for it. It was basically the guy mailed it in an envelope. It took a week to get here. Every day I checked the mail thinking it should be here in about 2 days because the guy was literally an hour and a half away from me and couldn't meet. And I thought, for the $1 for him to ship it saves me the time. It should get here. But this time of year with the holidays, it just it had me thinking, again, I wasn't going to be out a ton of money if it didn't show up, but I would have been ticked that this would have got lost in the mail because I think it's pretty rare because I can't find any comps on it. So I thought that was pretty cool of a pickup. And lastly, this just came in the mail. Today, I'll open this up right now. Actually came in yesterday, but this book was bought on Thursday, shipped out on Friday, and arrived on Saturday. So let me get it opened up here for you. Okay, so we started to open up a little bit here. Nicely packed in a mailer, in the Gemini mailer. Came in bubble wrap, so you got your weatherproof wrapping, and then you got your Gemini mailer to keep this thing nice. Now, this was an auction I bought, and it happened to be from a gentleman who just lives a couple hours south of me. Doesn't have much else in this particular genre. So when I checked the store, so I thought maybe I can go down and see him at some point on my travels, because I go that way quite often to see family. But he's not, he doesn't have much else in this type of book type. Sometimes you can do too much taping on these books to hook them to the cardboard. Not really worth it, in my opinion. But either case, this was a auction I won. Watched it for about 4 days. Started off at 80. There was no bids, and of course, the day before, someone puts a bid in. One bid at $80, and I'm thinking, oh, here it goes. I thought it might be something that I could just wait till the last day, put in the $80 bid, and own the book. But first bid came in the day earlier, and then all of a sudden, by an hour or two before the auction was ending, it was at $90, and I bumped this up to, I think, about 107 to get the win on it. And it is another Dave Stevens classic, Planet Comics. The Illuminati helped me determine that this was the right book to get over Chevelle Noir number 7. That's a nice cover, another Dave Stevens cover, but the group said that this was the better book to get. I probably will still get Chevelle Noir number 7, and that's a lot less expensive than this book. But this is classic Dave Stevens, yellow cover. It's in really good shape from what I can determine here, and I can see online. So, again, keep adding to the Dave Stevens collection. This was a good week for Dave Stevens, Comic Journal 117, and Planet Comics number 1. Great cover there. So, those are my pickups for the last week. We're getting close to the holidays. We'll be having a show coming up soon talking about some of our best pickups for 2023. So stay tuned for that. But as always, please I like to hear the comments. I like that you like the video, but I like to hear the comments or read the comments to see what you guys thought about it, and make sure you all subscribe to the channel. So peace out. We'll see you on the next unboxing, the next interview, or the next 2023 recap video. All right. You guys all take care. Have a great day. Peace.